Hello, I'm Philip Rice from St Giles Church in Desborough. Now, unless you've been on a 10-year mission to Mars, I'm sure you will probably have heard the expression fake news. Anyone can publish pretty much whatever they like via the internet these days, so that it's becoming increasingly difficult to know who's telling the truth or what to believe. There are some people who I generally believe, that is to say, I think they generally try to be truthful. There are also people I tend to dismiss as likely not to be telling the truth. I'd probably put Donald Trump in that latter category, but I can't be totally sure that everything he says is untrue. In fact, I've heard people who don't look completely crazy making powerful arguments in his defence. One person I know for sure is always telling the truth is Jesus, who is the way, the truth, and the life. I class myself amongst those whom Jesus tells the crowd in John chapter 10, listen to his voice. My sheep listen to my voice, he said. I know them and they follow me. I give them eternal life and they shall never perish. No one will snatch them out of my hand. Just before that, some of the Jews had asked him not to keep them in suspense, but if he was the Messiah, to tell them plainly. I did tell you, he said, but you do not believe. The works I do in my Father's name testify about me. But you do not believe because you're not my sheep. They didn't really want to believe him because they had some preconceived ideas, which meant that even though they could see what he was doing, they preferred to stick to their own ways of doing things, their own way of living. The way of Jesus didn't suit them. Well, 2,000 years on, it's becoming increasingly difficult to believe any other ideas. We look around and see what a mess other ideas have made of the world. 80 years after victory in Europe, we look around and see war in Europe happening right now. Countless other conflicts around the world because people follow the wrong ideas and listen to the wrong voices. Last week, Tim talked about the now irreversible damage being done to our environment through climate change. Fact is that we can all do our bit, but those with the most power to bring about change listen to the voices of vested interest, such as oil companies like BP. They recently announced it's cutting its renewable energy investments and instead focusing on increasing oil and gas production. There's more money in it, and money talks, but unfortunately, money doesn't speak truth. Are you following the way of Jesus, or are you listening to other voices? Jesus really is the only reliable voice, and living the way of Jesus really is the only way to bring about the changes we need. The works he did amongst the Jews testified about him, and he later told his disciples in John chapter 10, now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. I've set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. Following the way of Jesus, living the Jesus way, means doing the sort of things he did, which generally involved serving others, putting others first. I expect there was a time when someone did you a kindness that made you feel valued. There will have been other times when you felt distinctly undervalued. Which did you like best? When we spend time serving others, it makes the beneficiaries feel special. Just knowing that someone cares enough to do you a favour. It gives you a warm feeling inside. Now, wouldn't it be great if everyone experience that feeling? Wouldn't it be great if the world were full of people who felt valued in that way? The way of the world isn't getting us anywhere. I highly recommend following the example of Jesus and living his way. I also recommend spending at least as much time listening to Jesus as we do listening to the voices of politicians, celebrities, and other people who think they know what's right. There's no better example of how to live than Jesus. There's no better voice to listen to. God bless.